Yep.
Everybody ready? Ready?
That's a boy. Sit in the hot
Front
seat.
pew. Front seat, you can help me. Hi everyone, I'm Colleen Gregory, CVDM for Vodafone Australia, for those who don't know me, probably the people on the screen. So we just want to talk about how we get the slide back. The first thing we want to talk about. What are they going?
So it's finished.
A fast show is a good show. Right. Now I just want to give a brief overview on what's happening at Vodafone. We've had Vodafone as a client, Vodafone Australia as a client for about 12 months now. So I just wanted to take you on a very quick journey on what we've done in 12 months. So what I thought we'd do is do a quick review of where we're at and achievements today, some of the challenges, which a lot of people in this room would be very aware of with Vodafone. We have quite a few challenges, as with all clients. Resourcing's a challenge for us, reporting, and I'll go through postpaid, what we're doing there, because at the moment they're only a client for prepaid, but we're hoping to change that. I'll just go through a little bit how we're going, what are we achieving values, and some of, as I said before, some of the challenges. And then if you've got any questions, just feel free to let me know. So it's been a running start for us. We've done over 100 campaign briefs. So Alan Diaz is looking a little tired, and Niraj and Coy now, all of us, you'll know why. I should have mentioned Alan's the main TMOP on the Vodafone account, but we use all of the team. Ravi's working with us now. Niraj likes to do his bit for Vodafone. So we like to pull people in from everywhere basically. So we've done over 100 campaign briefs, about 400 campaigns. We've got about 40 current campaigns.
Wow.
About 11 million SMSs have been delivered and rewards applied just over 1 million. So it's been pretty busy.
That's busy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the early priority was to bed in the new system, the CLMS system, and to establish sound operational practice. So that was the key focus to start with. And I'll go through, we've got a campaign calendar activity. We've done a lot of emphasis on the daily reporting. They look to us as the source of the truth for daily campaign reporting, which is interesting. And campaign brief templates. So I'll just go through what we've done there. So we've got you probably can't see this that well, but Alan Diaz and I, and Ravi will have to get you involved here, we have a weekly update of a campaign calendar, and for Alan and I, this is our Bible of activity for Vodafone that helps us with our planning. And Vodafone, basically, if it's not updated in our campaign calendar, we go on whatever dates are in that calendar, so it's pretty important. It's used to manage our workload and priorities is the primary thing for it, and Vodafone use it to brief in their interdependent team, the people in Vodafone who are important to the process, so their SaaS guys, for example. Because the way Vodafone works is their SaaS team pulls a whitelist, gives it to us, and we execute campaigns. There's also been a strong emphasis on reporting. So at the moment we do a daily success report and a daily comms report. The daily success report is what Vodafone use to report performance of campaigns to senior management. So they don't use their own reporting, they use our daily success report. So if the daily success report goes down, we all hear about it.
What's term success?
Success is a loose term. It's performance. We like to be optimists on the Vodafone account, but it's performance. So it goes through every campaign that's running or is in progress. It goes through an updated daily results against the control group, and that is their source of truth. So they use that over and above any other report. So if there's an error on there, we hear about it. And it is an absolutely massive report because it's updated daily on every single campaign.
Since day one.
Since day one, over a year ago.
Running at the moment.
Yes,
Why?
and it crashes. It crashes constantly.
Because it's since day one, it's almost running for a year now.
Wow.
So Niraj is on the case to try and make that a bit more efficient. But that's a really, really important value add for the Vodafone team. Campaign response files also sent daily to Vodafone, and we're doing a CR to enhance that at the moment. So that just logs all the activity daily that goes out every day. And incremental revenue reports we should have done by now, and we do have the templates to do it, but the way they report revenue has been a source of disagreement within the Vodafone group, so they weren't keen for us to progress with that until they got their definitions correct.
Would they not be following Vodacom sort of, or?
Yeah, they do, but they weren't. They used weighted averages, and they didn't trust the weighted average, so they didn't want us to do work on it until we're keen. But Dave's really keen for us to get cracking on that because he wants to be able to say, Vodafone Group, all the campaigns going through Imagine generate X amount of revenue.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Dave, if you're watching, we're on the case. Campaign briefs, we use the briefing template. So this is what the marketing team fill in, the Vodafone marketing team fill in, give to me, and I fill in a bit and then give to Alan Diaz or Ravi to do the campaign flow. So we enhance this all the time based on learnings from the campaigns. So if we miss something on a campaign, Alan and I'll go back and say, let's update the template so that we don't miss it next time. So that's a very fluid document for us, but it's the be-all and end-all, so that's what is the first thing that goes in Jira for a campaign. So that's pretty important. Now what are we doing? Now we're turning our attention to enhancing the functional capability. So we've got the system in, we've got some of the basic things working. So we're turning our attention to enhancing functional capability, sharing best practice learnings, and improving campaign reporting. So Vodafone one of the main reasons they chose Imagine was for our learnings externally. So they're really keen to learn what other markets do, what Vodacom do, for example, and what other markets do. So Pradish, before he left, we were in contact with him about some of the UAE stuff that they're doing and some of the learnings. So Vodafone are really, really keen for us to do that. So I spoke to Greg about it, and one of the things we're going to do is he has a view to get all the CBDMs together so that we can do that kind of information sharing, which is what they ask me for all the time, benchmarking, what do other clients do, what do other markets do. So that would be a really good value add for Vodafone.
But you can't share.
No.
So
We don't even talk about them, Optus and
Yeah.
Telstra. It's mainly other markets. Vodacom's the big one
Yeah.
for them, which they can share.
Where's that?
South Africa. So they're all part of the same group. Yeah, they're all part of the same group. So they're really, but with 20 million customers versus a couple of million customers, they're really keen. And Vodacom are a lot further progressed in the process with Imagine than what we are. So we don't leverage that enough. So we're trying, Vodafone are always pushing me on what do other markets do, so we've got to get more.
God, are we 6 years now in Vodacom?
Are we what?
6 years?
Yeah, something like
Jesus.
really embedded.
7 years.
7 years. Bucket of days.
Raj could probably tell you how many days it is.
10 days and 2 hours.
Yeah, that's why I was hired for it.
Ah.
That's why I know.
I can't remember that
That
far
was my
back.
first client to
Oh.
work with.
That's all. So, yeah.
And the next thing is campaign reporting. So campaign reporting is a really key focus for them, obviously, because how can you say whether something's successful or not? And to measure the value generated, which is something Dave's really keen on, and to make corrections. It's all about doing something, what works, what doesn't work, and enhancing it and getting better and better. That's the view. Design and implement the system upgrade, which was done, and change request, which is in process, which I'll talk to in a minute. And the other big thing we're doing is to engage with the postpaid team, because postpaid is the cash cow at Vodafone. Prepaid is just a very, very small component. Prepaid is probably 10% of what the Vodafone group in Australia does. 90% of it is postpaid. And that's where the growth is, that's the cash cow. So that's where we want to be. This is just all about sharing best practice, which is, and it just breaks it down by life cycle. This is just something that I showed the Vodafone group on where they focus mainly on recharge and get, is what Vodafone in Australia do. You recharge, you get a reward for recharging. So they're trying to be a bit more smart about things and a bit more life cycle based. So that's basically what this slide's doing.
Is that Imagine best practice, or is that a industry standard best practice?
Oh, it's pretty much the first thing they do, because it's what customers do in prepaid. They recharge, so it's just the easiest campaign to do. So it's not necessarily the best, it's just the easiest to get out the door, and when you're under pressure with priorities, etc., it just seems to be one of the first things to do. But we need to get smarter about it, and they need to get smarter about it, and so they're going down the life cycle management route, which is what most telcos are doing. Work with VHA to deliver campaign reports that enable them to generate value. So that's what I was talking about, the ROI. So what we want to be in a position to do is say, okay, of all the campaigns that went through Imagine this month, this is how much revenue was generated, which we're pretty close to being in it. And then we want to be able to report that back to Vodafone, all of our stakeholders, and also senior management, so that they can see the value that Imagine's adding. So that's what we want to do. Rather than just saying, at the moment what we do is just say, okay, for the campaigns, the vast majority of campaigns, the target group gets better results than the control group, so therefore the campaign's been successful. It's not as sophisticated as we'd like. Now the focus is to design and implement the system upgrade and the various change requests. So the system upgrade, from version 9.3 to 10.3, they had never done an upgrade in 12 months. So Vodacom were doing them every 6 to 8 weeks. Vodafone had never done an upgrade. So it was a massive upgrade, and everyone who worked on it did an amazing job in Imagine, so thank you. It was considered to be a very, very successful upgrade, and we got thousands of emails on it, but it was completely over-engineered. So they had so many people working on it, it was just ridiculous. So our challenge for the next upgrade is that it becomes much more ingrained in our processes. Yeah. And we've got to take cost out of it. It was just too costly for us last time, because it's included in the contract, the upgrades are included in the contract, so we can't sustain that extra cost. So that's a challenge. The other things we're working on are a number of change requests, which a number of people in this room are working on. So for those who don't know what they are, CR11 for Vodafone. At the moment, Vodafone can only send out messages less than 160 characters, or else the customer will get 2 messages, which isn't ideal from a customer's perspective or a brand perspective. It looks klutzy. So the marketing group are very keen to be able to, particularly with smartphones, etc., to be able to give a longer message that says more, puts more of their personality and brand into it, and gets better results. So that's one we're working on at the moment. That's been delayed because the SMSC vendor at Vodafone can't, there's issues with the testing. So that hopefully will be in very soon. Another couple of change requests we're working on is that response file that goes back with all the daily activity. They wanted some enhancements to that, so we're working on that. That's CR7. CR8 is really just to support the Spam Act. We can't, the Spam Act says we can't contact customers. We have to get rid of the whitelist after 5 days. So CR8 is just a compliance thing, so that we're not in breach of the Spam Act, which has severe penalties. So they will happen hopefully in the short term. CR9, Alan Griffiths and I are working with Vodafone on the requirements for postpaid to be able to migrate some of their postpaid campaigns that are currently with Salmat over to Imagine. And hopefully that will be the start of the process of getting their postpaid business, which will be great.
I can see the dollars.
No, because we can't see the dollars because it's already built into the contract. They had in the contract that it covered prepaid and postpaid. The Vodafone contract was really good because they want it to be an example for the Vodafone group business. To be able to say, look at what we've done in Australia, we can do that in other markets. So the contract was very good for Vodafone, so it includes postpaid. So, I'm sorry, Rose. Sorry to burst your bubble. It's just extra work. But hopefully we'll get something out of it. Hopefully Dave will get extra work out of it.
Well, exactly. Hopefully it'll permeate through the Vodafone network.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're hoping. So they're mainly broadcast campaigns for postpaid, but getting them to get the requirements right has been a bit of an effort. So Alan and I are working through that with them, but hopefully that's the start of the process. Okay, we're nearly done. Resourcing is a big issue for us. So I work part-time. We've now got 1.5 TMOPs working on the account, so that's an increase of 0.5, so roughly fantastic. We're very excited about that.
You were 0.5.
Yeah, one
Is it the left brain or the right brain?
At bottom of that.
So we're very excited about that. But resourcing is always an issue for all of us, obviously. So prioritisation is pretty important. And we need to reconsider the resourcing based on what happens in the postpaid market as well. So that might be an opportunity for extra revenue. And best practice, so this just goes through some of the things we need to do. As I said, they're always on to me about benchmarking, what do we do, what do other markets do. So this is just some of the examples that I spoke to them about.
You know, I've got a point about what other markets do. It makes little sense if you don't compare
Could be different.
the whole market.
Yeah.
Because it's silly to compare, say, Australia to, say, Singapore.
Yeah.
Or you.
Or India.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you
Makes
can get some
sense.
learnings, like next best offer, everyone wants to see what the next best offer for a particular customer is, so it's good to see what they do in different markets.
Yeah, definitely.
For some cases, but yeah, sometimes
you
it's
need to
completely
back it up
irrelevant.
with the market that's just behind that.
Definitely. And in Nigeria, customers have multiple SIMs, whereas in
Yeah.
Australia they don't do that, so it
That's
is,
Exactly right.
it is different. And the reporting is going to be different. So they also like to look at some of their campaign results, like recharge and get campaigns that every market does, to see, okay, we're getting a 10% uplift on the control group. What's a normal, what's an example, is that good? Is that, most markets getting 50%? You know, is that, and obviously we can't do it in the Australian market, but, so sometimes it's good just to put a stake in the ground as well to say, okay, we thought that was good, other markets are getting much better results or much worse results, whatever. But yeah, you do have to weigh up to make sure you're comparing apples with apples. And the other thing Greg and I have spoken about is the CBDM sharing, because in different markets it's a little bit, it is in different geographical locations, it is a bit tricky, but we do have that pool of resources, so it's a shame not to use it. I think that's about it. This just goes through what we went through with Vodafone on how different. So they like to have a look at Vodacom, for example, but it's a completely different operational structure. The way, as I said, the way Vodafone in Australia works is SAS give us the whitelist, we execute the campaign and apply the reward. Whereas Vodacom, it's much more integrated. So I just use this slide to try and show Vodafone that it is a completely different setup of structure.
Right.
And that's hopefully where we will evolve to, but we're a long way from that. Like it's 1 year versus 7 years. So, but I just wanted for them to see that it's different. I think that's it. So does anyone have any questions about good old Vodafone?
You forgot to tell them that they're the best paying clients in the whole business.
Right.
Yes.
In terms of on time, all the time.
Right.
No, Vodafone.
Rose loves Vodafone for that reason. They pay.
I'm purely pecuniary.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's a big point though, I mean,
It is huge.
they have to pay.
Yeah, yeah. Money in the door means cash flow means, you know, keep the business going. We've got lots of money, don't worry guys, lots of it. I like it.
They're very good. They
I
are
just
very
don't
good
get it in
payers.
as quick as I like it. All good.
So that's ending on a high. Any other questions about Vodafone?
I just got one question. Infrastructure. Is it hosted on Rackspace or
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's on Raspberry.
is
in
it
the
different-
US.
Different, just a whole different
connections,
Rackspace.
Different VPN,
Cool.
different box.
So we've looked at bringing it back to Australia, but there's a whole host of legal concerns about that.
Colin, you know how Vodafone sort of came into the market as the underdog 12
Yeah.
months ago? I mean, they really did. I really kind of felt for them. So how would you describe their standing in the marketplace today?
Oh, they still are. Telstra is the dominant market player in mobile. Optus and Vodafone together on prepaid don't equal Telstra's numbers on prepaid. So Telstra are enormous. Vodafone still consider themselves to be the underdog, and they basically have said they've got to really turn the ship around, or they have to question whether there is space in the Australian market. And the good news is probably in the last 3 to 4 months they've seen the first growth in mobile that they've had in a long
Is that
time.
with their new 4G network too, is it?
4G they've got some amazing press around 4G. They don't have as many customers obviously on the
okay.
network as Telstra and Optus do,
Alright.
but they have had amazing press around that. And from a brand point of view, that's great. because they lost customers in droves because of coverage.
Absolutely.
That was
Yeah.
their key issue.
Yep, we've all been bad paying customers.
And that was the key issue. So they've spent an enormous amount of money and time and resources trying to.
Yeah, I figure they deserve to win now. They really have, haven't they? Yeah.
So they are starting to see some positive signs.
Oh, that's really good.
And I like to think it coincides with when Imagine joined.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Woohoo! That'd be nice to think about. Yeah, good luck to them.
Okay, well thanks everyone.
Colleen.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you.